Today we're down in the rolling hills of southwestern Wisconsin, here to take a look at this amazing rustic farmhouse built by Golden Eagle Log and Timber Homes. Let's go inside and take a look. This home is 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, just over 5,200 square feet, not counting the outdoor living space, which we'll show you a little bit later. But for now, let's start right here in this amazing great room. Now, when I walked through the front door, the first thing my eye was instantly drawn to was this impressive fireplace. This thing is almost 22 feet tall, 6 feet wide, and even has a raised hearth for additional seating. This is a great idea in a space like this. We can come over, we can sit next to this gas fireplace, warm up. We're also right here in the main area, still engaged in the conversation. And off to the side, that's a Samsung frame TV. We're starting to see a lot more of those. It's really nice because when you've got the TV on, obviously you're enjoying the TV. But then when you don't have the TV on, it actually acts as a piece of artwork, still decorating the space. And then up above me, have you ever seen a mantle like this? I mean, look how cool that thing looks. That's an 8x10 hand-hewn mantle resting on 2 8x8 timber supports. Those timber supports in the mantle just tie in excellent with the timber beams above us. And then look at that timber accent truss. Hanging off that truss, you've got this impressive chandelier that throws off so much lighting. And by the way, when we get upstairs, you're really gonna appreciate that timber truss up close and personal. But for now, let's head over to the kitchen. This is one amazing kitchen. But before we get into the details, I want to take a moment to highlight how centrally located this is on the floor plan. Not only do we have convenient access right off the garage, but we're also located near the stairs. So whether you're coming up from the lower level or down from the loft, the kitchen's just a few steps away. And right behind me is the great room. Now this kitchen really does have a lot of things to highlight, but the first thing my eye went to was this impressive range hood. We used rustic hickory on the range hood, just like we did with the rest of the kitchen cabinets, but we went with a darker contrasting stain to really give it that accent feel. Up above, we have a nickel gap board, which plays off very well with the rest of the hand-hewn tongue and groove you'll see throughout the home. And just below the trim here, we have an 8-inch wide plank that ties in with the 8x8 ceiling beams in the kitchen. And throughout this kitchen, we'll see this mirrored tiled backsplash. And what that does is with the under cabinet lighting, it allows the light to reflect off not only the backsplash, but then also off the granite countertops, just reflecting all that light back into the kitchen. And we have to talk about this dual oven range combo. This Wolf unit is 48 inches wide, has dual ovens. What's great about that is you can literally be cooking multiple dishes at different temperature settings. Up above is 4 gas burners with a griddle located in between. You could pretty much cook every meal possible at the same time on this thing. Another thing I think the Golden Eagle design team absolutely nailed was the incorporation of this window. By going to a casement style window, we're able to conveniently unlock and open the window from the bottom of the window. Now imagine if that was a double hung window. You'd have to reach up about midway to unlock it and then lift the window up, making it much harder to access. Another thing to point out about the window is the design itself. We lined up the center of the window with the faucet, the light fixture above, and even the beam that carries across the island. Those are the little details that make it so great to work with Golden Eagle Log and Timber Homes. And just below the window, we've got this black granite farmhouse sink. I mean, in a farmhouse style home, you gotta have a farmhouse sink. That black plays off very nicely with the black granite countertops we see throughout the home. Again, the black mirrored tiled backsplash. the black fixtures, even the black handle pulls. And I think all that ties in really well with the darker knots that you get in the hickory cabinets as well. And right over here, we have this impressive island. This island is 5 foot by 7 foot. And look at the countertop. We've got the extra thick edge all the way around. Really plays well with the timbers and just this caliber of home. And you might notice that this is the same stain that we used on the range hood earlier. Now in an ordinary home, the side of this island might just be left blank. But here we added custom end panels to really give it that furniture-like appearance. We even extended the toe kick, adding just one more touch. And while we're down here, you might notice that we didn't do the extended toe kick on the perimeter cabinets. And that's because the client wanted to incorporate toe kick lighting throughout the kitchen. Another hidden detail to this island is the extra storage you get by adding doors to the back of the island. On top of the island, we've got these discrete pop-up outlets. Very convenient for if you're hosting a party, you've got crock pots out, you don't want cords hanging over the edge of the island. And then of course, right over here, we've got the Wolf microwave drawer. And just behind me, we have the Sub-Zero fridge. I think Golden Eagle's kitchen team did an excellent job of integrating not only this fridge, but all the appliances throughout this kitchen for a seamless look. Over here, we added the refrigerator end panel. That allowed us not only to give it the built-in look, but also to bring the upper cabinet out flush to the edge of the refrigerator. Imagine if that cabinet was further back. It'd be harder to get at, and you'd even see the top of the refrigerator. And speaking of the upper cabinets, when you have 10-foot ceilings like we do in this kitchen, it's a really good idea to add the upper cabinets. Not only does it fill in that space, but it also gives you the ability to add decorative glass at the top. By backlighting that glass, it brings in a lot more light, almost making it feel like there's windows all the way around. And right next to the fridge, we have this beverage station. We start out with this oversized prep sink. Great for rinsing out your drinks, dumping your coffee, that kind of stuff. Right above there is integrated wine storage. Just next to the sink, we have the Sub-Zero under cabinet beverage center. And on top of that, a great place to store your coffee pot. You know, I really like how your coffee pot you're probably gonna keep out every day. But yet, in this design, it's tucked off over to the side, kind of hidden from the rest of the view of the kitchen. And one thing I didn't mention was the under cabinet lighting. Not only does it add great ambient lighting, but it can also be used for task lighting, making your drinks, or maybe that morning coffee and you don't want to turn all the lights on. And once your coffee's ready, there's no better place to enjoy it than right over here. And here we are on this impressive covered porch. I mean, you really do get the feeling like you're up in the trees, just looking out the back of the property, great views. And it all starts with Golden Eagle's signature 8x8 hand-hewn timbers. We're not only using them for the post, but we're also using them as the braces going up to the headers. We've got double headers going across the front and the turkey track up above. Just above us, we have our rustic knotty pine tongue and groove ceiling that brings us over to the outdoor fireplace. Now this is the same chase and the same stone that was on the interior duplicated to the exterior. We even raised the hearth just like inside. Just imagine those cool fall nights, you can still sit out here and enjoy the outdoors. Now the clients tell us that they just love sitting out on this covered porch, enjoying dinner, listening to nature. But let's go back inside and show you where the main dining is. Now whether you're enjoying dinner out on the covered porch or back here in the dining room, you're definitely not sacrificing the view with this impressive window. And speaking of the windows, again, look how balanced we are. We've lined up the table with the center window and even the beam above. And speaking of the table, this was custom built by the builder using a live edge slab provided by Golden Eagle Log and Timber Homes. And just off the great room is the master suite. Let's go take a look inside. Now, even though this is a lofted home, we still have the benefit of a vaulted ceiling here. The master suite sits just outside the lofted area, and that allows us to extend the ceilings here. We have the same beam structure that we had out in the great room, But in here, we're introducing a new lighter ceiling finish with our Springbrook tongue and groove. This is a great display of how you can incorporate wood with drywall. In this case, we've got hand-hewn tongue and groove on the perimeter walls and drywall on the interior wall. A lot of customers love doing that. And one of my favorite spaces of this entire home is this screen porch. A screen porch was a must-have for these clients, and the way we designed it off the main covered porch, we're not sacrificing any views. Now there's a lot to talk about in the master bathroom. The first thing is the double vanity. I really like how we extended the center section, giving it designated spaces for his and hers. We have the leathered granite rock chip countertop. We're using hickory cabinets, and we've even got motion censored toe lighting below that turns on when you get up in the middle of the night. On top, we've got dual copper vessel sinks that tie in with this beautiful copper tub. Now the client specifically wanted to be able to still see out the windows when using the tub. So Golden Eagle's design team extended the bottom of the windows down so no views were sacrificed. Right behind me, we have the walk-in closet, but let's talk about the shower. What makes this shower unique is it's set up for his and her controls. Each side features a handheld wand on a slide bar, allowing you to set your preference at height. Up above, you have the overhead rain shower, and on each side, you have individual temperature controls, making each side custom for your personal setting. And here we are in the second bedroom on the first floor. Here again, we're utilizing hand-hewn tongue and groove on walls along with drywall. And over here is a great opportunity to see the trim work going on in this house. We've got 2x8 hand-hewn base along with 2x8 band board. And you'll notice throughout the home, we're doing a 2x6 casing along the side, but a 2x8 casing across the top of the windows and doors. Really adds dimension and character. With these massive windows and great views, this could also be used as a home office. And speaking of massive windows, this home we're featuring the Pella Lifestyle casement windows throughout with the pre-finished interior jambs. And just off the bedroom is an attached full bathroom that also serves as a guest bath with the use of the door off the hallway. There's a lot of unique details going on in this bathroom. We're using rustic hickory cabinetry. We've got a rustic live edge pine top, which is actually the same material that was used on the dining room table. We've got a hammered copper vessel sink, and we've got wall mounted faucets, making it easy to keep the surface clean. I even like how we have this angle going on here, and we were able to incorporate this cabinet on top of the vanity. And right behind me, we have another walk-in tiled shower. And here's a detail worth pointing out. We have zero entry. That means there's no step to get into the shower, so aging in place is that much easier. What's great about this floor plan design is all the access points off the laundry and mudroom. We have direct access to the back patio with the back door. We have access out to the driveway coming through the front door here. And just behind me, we have access to the garage, which we'll get into a little bit later. But let's start here in the laundry room. Now, when you're working with Golden Eagle, whether we're designing your kitchen, your laundry room, office, or even your walk-in closets, we're often using the same cabinetry. It's all customizable, whether you choose different stains or wood species. In this case, the client chose to keep the same cabinets as they had in the kitchen. A couple things worth pointing out in this space. First is the view. We've got almost 7 feet of window looking out over the backyard. Another nice little detail is the integrated dog bed and feeding station. And just out to the side, we've got a large pantry. Right around the corner, we've got this excellent drop zone, convenient built-in bench for taking off your shoes, storing the coats. But let's head upstairs. Now, before we head up to the loft, let's take a second and check out these stairs. Typically, we see the stringers mounted underneath the treads. In this case, we kept the stringers out on the edge of the treads. We've got all hand-hewn surface on the stringers, the treads, and the post. We've got our timber-worn edge railing and the rebar spindles. The second floor of this home has a unique loft space that I think you're gonna love. Up here, you can actually get up close and personal to all the beam work, the intricate details of all the timbers on the ceiling. You can actually feel the texture and see the rustic ceiling finish that was used throughout the great room. Right over here, we have a nice little sitting area, amazing views out the window. I think the colors and the textures we used just give this home a real warm, cozy cabin feel. Let's go look at the other side of the loft. Over here, I'm gonna call this the reading nook area. The client saw this feature in one of our other home tours and just had to have it. And we found the perfect spot for it in this design up here in the loft. And over here, with the use of a gabled dormer, which just opened up this space, gave us the vaulted ceiling, and the windows created a nice little spot for a sitting area. Now in the bedroom, we've got a shed dormer. Let's go take a look at that. By using a shed dormer, you're able to add more space than with a gabled dormer. That allowed us to get enough room for this bedroom and closet. And just outside the bedroom, we've got another full bathroom, essentially making this upper area its own private suite, perfect for if you're hosting guests. Now before we head down to the lower level, I want to point out the interior doors. All the doors on this home on the first floor are 8 feet tall in rustic hickory, matching the kitchen cabinets. Let's go check out the lower level. Now this part of the home was designed with entertaining in mind. And over here is the bar area. The client loved the rustic pine slab so much that we even used it as the bar top. Just below the bar top, we've got the same stone that we're using on the fireplace. We're continuing the rock chipped leather granite on the countertops back here. And then it flows right out to the patio. Perfect for if you're outside enjoying the campfire, want to come in, grab a quick drink, and head right back out. Over here, we've got the same size fireplace chase that was upstairs, carried it all the way down to the lower level. We've got another raised hearth. We've got a gas fireplace and the same mantle that was upstairs. Now you might be wondering, where would you put a TV down here? Well, in this case, the client used a projector. Now I mentioned the 8-foot tall doors on the first floor, but we actually have 8-foot tall doors down here as well. And that's due to the fact that we have 10-foot ceiling heights, making it really just feel like an expansion of the first floor. Right behind me, we head into a bedroom. Now nothing is lost in the lower level. We've got full-size windows, letting in all that natural light. We're using the same ceiling finish, the same trims, and the same wall finish. We even have the 8-foot tall barn door right behind me, leading into the bathroom. In this bathroom, we've got another tiled walk-in shower, a 6-foot vanity topped off with another rustic pine slab, and I just love that hammered copper sink. We're starting to see a lot more home gyms designed in our floor plans, and this is a great display of that. And one thing I really like in this room is how our selections team advised to maybe take the tongue and groove, turn it vertically, and use it as a wainscoting. Imagine if you were lifting weights, you dropped a weight, now you've got the wood protecting you from the drywall. Just on top of the wainscoting, you've got this hand-hewn chair rail, topped off with the band board up above and the baseboards down below. And just behind me through this door is probably one of the cleanest mechanical rooms I've ever seen. In here we've got the finished epoxy flooring. One thing I forgot to mention is the entire lower level and the master suite features in-floor heat. This room also has access up to the garage. What's great about that is imagine if you had to have a service technician come over and work on anything. You can lock off the rest of the home and only give them access to this space. I even hate to call this a garage with all the great finishes we have in here. I mean, we've got full-size windows. We've got the same hand-hewn tongue and groove that was used inside the home. We've got the finished epoxy garage floor. We've even got custom built-in benches over here with storage underneath. Perfect for when you're coming in and sit down, take off your boots, tuck them away, keep it all clean. Now from the front of the home, this looks like a 2-car garage, but with the use of the side load garage door, we're actually able to pick up a 3rd stall, perfect for those side-by-sides or UTVs. The garage floor slopes down to this center drain. With this entire garage being insulated and having in-floor heat, the snow's gonna melt off and run right into that drain. You can even rinse the floor or your cars off with this hot or cold water hookups. We're even wired for future EV charging. As I make my way around to the back of the home, one thing I want to point out is when you're building a brand new custom home, the last thing you want to see is the mechanicals. Here's an excellent way that we kind of hid the units over in the corner. We were able to install the staircase, takes us back into the laundry mudroom, tuck away the AC unit so you don't see it from the front of the house or from down by the main entertaining area. These natural stone steps and boulder retaining walls lead us down into the main entertaining area. We've got plenty of space for a fire pit, or in this case a fire table, which leads us under the first floor covered porch. It's got a finished ceiling, which not only looks beautiful, but also provides protection from the rain or the sun. Right through the patio doors, we have access to that lower level bar, making it perfect for running in and out, grabbing a cocktail. And just behind me, we have a year-round swim spa. A great way to add curb appeal is by using these custom timber eyebrow roofs above the garage. Not only that, but then we added a timber accent up above that as well. And then right around the corner, we have that access back into the laundry mudroom area. Imagine how convenient that would be. You're out there working on the yard, you can walk right in, kick off your dirty shoes, drop your clothes off. Another detail worth pointing out is how the garage and the house have horizontal shiplap siding. In this space, we did vertical board and batten siding, almost designating it as its own little space between the house and the garage. As we make our way to the grand entrance, there's so many details to talk about, but first let's stop and look at this rain chain. If we didn't have the rain chain here, we would have a downspout coming down from the gutter. So this is an excellent way to still use the gutter, but dress up the area. Now as we carry along, we're greeted by this 48-foot long covered porch. We've got hand-hewn 8x8 posts sitting on top of these massive stone pillars. One thing you might notice is there's no railing on the front porch, and that's because this entire home is set up with zero entry. That means you can actually pull into the driveway, walk right up to the front door, and even into the front door without taking a step. Or you can pull into the garage and walk right in from the garage without a step. Now as we make our way to the massive 6-foot by 8-foot front door, we go from flat ceilings to a vaulted ceiling. That not only gives us the ability to add this beautiful chandelier right above the front door, but also incorporate another timber accent. Now imagine if we took this same floor plan and changed some of the colors, finishes, and even room layouts. Well, we've actually done that in this video. If you're interested, go take a look. We've built over 6,000 homes since 1966 across North America, so give us a call when you're ready to start designing your dream home.